we're so back. I am so happy right now to be back recording my second video for the YouTube series. I know I skipped last week. I just wasn't in a great place to want to record last week. I kind of was in just a cluster of emotions with a whole bunch of different things, and life was lifing, work was working. I was tired, and you know, I need to be better with recording still, regardless when I'm feeling like that. But, sometimes it's really needed because then you just don't want to put out crappy content just to put out the content. I'd rather wait, take that reflection period, and look back and be like, okay, cool. We went through that and we processed, and make sure it doesn't last too long. It's never an issue to go through creative ruts and processes where you just need to take a break and you just feel like you're just not in a great place to want to record. But you can't let it last forever, because then you're just never going to record. You're never going to put the content out there. Then you're always going to live in that moment of, oh, I don't feel ready. I don't, all the emotions. We'll talk about that in a different episode. But this episode is episode 2 of my series. I moved back home to chase after my dream life, and we're back and in a very different place than last week, than the last episode. This is the amazing Orchid and Olive event space for all your small business events, floral events. If you want to do some photography stuff here, you can do photography, birthdays, event, anything you could think of. It's a beautiful space. You see we have the natural lighting. I don't have any lighting turned on. Amazing couch. And you can record your podcast here too, which is what I'm doing right now. So Orchid and Olive is also on Peerspace, and I will drop the link and everything below in this YouTube episode and on my Spotify for the ones who listen to the Spotify episode on Spotify for podcasts. So, but let's get into the episode. So last episode we left off on just summarizing everything from my dream from a very young age of wanting to move to Florida, working for Disney, and the amount of times I've left and gone because it just didn't work out. And timing is everything, and all the way leading up to when I moved this last time and thought that was the one, and it wasn't. And that's so fine. That's so fine. Okay, this one's gonna be a little bit of a lengthy episode. We're gonna really dive into everything that I went through when I moved to Florida in October, and everything that made me want to leave and move back home. As sad as it was, because I'm a Disney adult at heart, and as nice as the weather was and everything in the life that I had, in the space that I was in, it wasn't it. It wasn't working. So I moved there in October of 2025, and to go pursue doing photography for Disney full time, which is something that I've wanted to do for a while now. And it was great. I got there. I was so excited to see all my friends, and it was like a weight lift off my shoulders, as if something that I've wanted to do for a very long time, it finally happened. I was like, this is it. All the waiting is done. All the suffering and the pain and the things I went through, it wasn't for nothing. And telling my friends, I'm like, I finally made it back. I told y'all that I was gonna make it back and everything, and whatnot, and just being back in a place that I knew that was familiar, that felt like home for me for so long, and then things just took a weird turn, okay? And I keep trying to tell myself every year I'm gonna find better verbiage and vocabulary to use when I think things outside of just saying everything's weird, versus finding the actual word to use to describe what I'm going through. But that's nor here or there. So, but when I moved in October, things were great. I was so excited to see my friends. I was so excited to be back in Florida and just get back to what I knew, going to the parks, creating content. My goal, I still want to be a YouTuber, but I wanted to be a YouTuber and making park content again, and growing on my Instagram, and taking awesome photos, and being in rooms that you could only imagine that I've always wanted to be in, and whatnot. And I quickly became not just in love with like Disney anymore from a cast member standpoint. I will forever love Disney. I'm a Disney adult at heart. Okay, uh, it was very tiring. It was very taxing on the body, on the mental. I felt like I was just a slave. I felt like I was a slave to the system of just like having to go out there and take pictures because I had to, not because I wanted to take pictures. There were days where it was really good, and I was having a lot of fun with the families and doing what I do best, which is creating amazing moments. And then there was days that I just was like, please just keep walking right past. Like, I really am not in the mood to take photos today. And that's like such a bad feeling. That's such a bad feeling to be in the most magical place on earth and doing what you love and feeling like you don't even want to do it. And all you want to do is just like, you're just looking at your watch, waiting for the clock to like wind down for you to go clock out and go home. And that's a bad place. That's just a bad place to be in across all boards, you know. My looking around and stuff, I'm getting used to this whole YouTubing thing and recording videos of it's just me and nobody else, and I'm trying to look right at the camera because I'm so used to only recording when I have other people here. So we're moving and grooving, we're learning, and it's gonna be an adjustment because I'm like trying to look at my host, and I'm like, oh, I don't have my co-host. Like, there's no one here. So, but nor here, we're gonna go back to what we're talking about. I fell very quickly out of love with photographing for Disney, and that's something I never thought would ever happen. And every day just became like okay, I have to go to work just because like I have to, you know? And I would do my best to make the days go on by, and I eventually was like, okay, well, you know what, if like maybe let's just adjust some things. Let's switch our deployment. Let's go from photographing just people to trying to get more character heavy locations around the park so I could photograph more characters. And I did. I got to work in Toy Story Land for months, and it was fantastic working with Jesse and Woody and Buzz and Pixar Plaza, which they have Sully and Edna Mode and Joy, and like that was truly like the best on the planet, getting to work in those locations, because it's like you're seeing your characters who you grew up with, like who you grew up watching, like right in front of you, and you get to look at all the kids get just as excited as you got and whatnot, and you're capturing that moment. Those are the moments I lived for. Those are the moments I wish I could just was able to do like forever. You know, if I could literally go to work every single day and just do that and like just work with like Sully like the whole entire 8 hours, like that would be like freaking fantastic. Or work with Joy, you know, just leave me there. I don't even need a break. Okay, I need a break, but like, you know what I'm saying. And then eventually that started to fade, and I started to find more enjoyment with photographing things outside of my uniform, like when I was on my days off, and you know, and I really wanted to break into that Disney content creator space without still having that like ideology of like I'm a cast member, because at some point it overlaps and you can't do both. You know, you're either a full-on Disney content creator and that's just what you love to do, or you're a cast member and you just post Disney content for fun, like on your days off when you go to the park, just to take fun photos and make some fun little videos and everything like that, which is what everyone does, which is fine. But what I knew in my heart that I wanted to do was I want to photograph Disney events. Like, I want to get invited to events. I want to be on like the Disney red carpets and stuff for movie premieres. I want to be like just in the rooms with some of the most amazing people who I know, which is JoJo. I freaking love him. He's awesome. And Emily Nielsen and Kyle Palo, and you know, there's so many, but that's what I wanted to do. And I think that was the shift in my mind of like, okay, Chris, like if this is what you want to do and this is what you've always like really deep down like wanted to do, that doesn't come from this. So like that, like that's, you can't do both. You can only do both for so long until it becomes a problem. And unfortunately, in the cast member world, when it comes to working for Disney World, if you are trying to work for the company and also grow on your Disney social media platform, you can only like go so far until it becomes a problem, because then if you're just getting too much attention in certain spaces, you either have to miss out on certain opportunities that you can't take as a cast member, or you have to, because it's, conflict of interest, which that's a whole nother thing we're not going to get started into. And you just can't do a whole lot. So it's like they put a ceiling on kind of how high you can get before you have to like pick and choose to be like, you're either going to be a cast member or like you're not going to be a cast member in the nicest way possible. And it's happened to so many people, and that's been the breaking point of so many cast members who found love and enjoyment of like breaking out of like the traditional like 9 to 5, and they are just a creator at heart, which is me. Like, you're just a creator at heart, and they reach a road in their success where they have to make a choice, and they make the choice where it's like, okay, we're not gonna do this anymore, and we're just gonna go full and all the way over here, And I felt like that was starting for me, and like I just got to photograph. I just got to be in so many amazing spaces. Okay, so we'll get down to some of the events and things that happened. So Disney does concert series for the Food and Wine Festival called Eat to the Beat. And they have free concerts as long as you have admission into the park. So for cast members, obviously we got it for free. So I brought my camera one day because I saw that Jordan Sparks was coming, and I am a huge Jordan Sparks fan. Huge. Love her so much. And that was my first time ever being able to see her in concert, and I was like, I'm bringing my camera because I want to capture some photos and start practicing my concert photography. Little did I know that like the photos were gonna come out freaking fantastic, and I was actually gonna really fall in love with photographing concerts. And I went back again to photograph the Fray, and then something cool. Like, he actually came into my row, so I got some really cool photos of the Fray, like right here. It was fantastic. And then David Archuleta came, and then I just started going to more concerts and photographing more concerts. And then the biggest concert, like pinnacle moment that happened for me was during one of the other festivals that happened. They did Disney on Broadway, right? The Disney on Broadway concert series, where they have the actual actors who are the original voices for the Broadway performances, like in New York and Amsterdam and like New Zealand and out the country and everywhere where Disney on Broadway performs. They had the actors there performing some songs. So I took my mother to go see one of the performances because she loves Mary Poppins, huge Mary Poppins girl. And we went to go see the original actor who voiced Mary Poppins on Broadway and the original actor who voiced Aladdin on Broadway in New Zealand. And they were fantastic. And of course, by nature, I brought my camera, right? So there's that, and we were a little bit farther back because we didn't get there early enough to try and get it a little bit closer. And I only have a 24-70 focal length G Master lens for my Sony, so it's like I couldn't get as close as I wanted to get for the photos, which is fine, but I still got some cool ones anyway. And I posted them regardless of them not being as great as I wanted them to be for, distance wise. And the actor, the gentleman loved the photos, liked them, and asked if he could use them and stuff. And then I, being like the person who I am, responded, and I was like, oh my gosh, absolutely, like, you were amazing, did a fantastic performance, like, it was so much fun, like, feel free to use them for whatever you want. And I was like, but how about I come back and I can capture some better photos and I can get closer to the stage. If you put me on like the list of like one of your guests, I can get right up in the front row, and then I could really get some awesome photos for you guys to use, right? So then that didn't happen. I mean, it happened, but like he was busy with a whole bunch of stuff, so he didn't see the message in time to be able to put me on the list. And I so graciously was blessed to be able to get up against the front of the stage, because I went to the cast members, showed them our text messages, and told them what had happened and everything, and our history of why I was even back to, take more photos. And she said, "Is it just you and there's no one else?" And I said, "Yeah, it's just me." And she was like, "Okay, you're fine. There's space. Come on." And she let me in. And I'm so sad I don't remember what her name was, to be able to like go back and thank her for that moment, because that literally unlocked something within me that will forever catapult me to all the greatest moments that I'm gonna capture going forward. Like that was the night for me. Photographing Jordan Sparks was amazing. Photographing The Fray, fantastic. But that was the night that things changed, where I knew, okay, I was like, okay, these are the moments that I want to capture for the rest of like my photography career. This concerts, this is what I want to do. So I was able to get into the second row, and I started photographing the artists while they were performing. But beforehand, there was a lovely lady behind me and her family, and we were just yapping, because I wasn't sure if they had saw the artists or not. And I had told them how great they were, because I had saw them a couple nights ago, and I was like, her voice, fantastic. She sings Reflections, and his voice, absolutely amazing. He sings Go the Distance and whatnot, like just expressing my excitement and my appreciation for their talent. And then we were talking back and forth and everything, and I was like, I'm actually here to photograph take some photos for them tonight, and everything. And whole time while they're behind me and I'm taking some awesome photos, I was showing them like in between like the sets some of the photos that I had taken. I'm like, oh my gosh, like some of the moments that I really got to capture, and one thing led to the next. Once the concert was done and we stood up and we gave our standing ovation and we clapped and they walked back off the stage, I turned around and then I was like, we were talking, we're like, that was so amazing. That was such a great performance. And then she asked me if my photos were gonna be posted on social media. And I was like, absolutely. I was like, I'm gonna post them on my Instagram account, and they're gonna go on my professional portfolio, and then they're also gonna get sent to the artist as well, because then I told the backstory of why I was even here. And then this is one of the coolest flexes on the planet, that she was like, just name dropped the fact. She was like, well, I work for the Disney on Broadway Instagram account, and I want to repost your photos. I lost it internally, was so professional in the moment, very professional. I was like, oh my god. I was like, absolutely, thank you so much. I was like, just is there any contact information like we can exchange, or like exchange Instagrams and stuff like that and everything? That way, like when I post them, you'll know, and we can stay in touch going forward, because like I would love to just grow a connection, a relationship, like going forward with you after this moment. And we did. And then I went home and I called my mom, because she was in town to visit me for 10 days at the time. And I was like, Mom, I was like, you're never gonna understand what just happened. And I was like, I took some photos, they were amazing. And I was like, and then I met the girl who actually runs the Disney on Broadway social media account, and she wants to repost them, screaming in the park, because I just was like, a moment that I did genuinely for myself, not expecting anything to come from it besides just my own personal enjoyment, and giving the photos to the artists to support a freaking amazing artist and their performance, led to something so much bigger than that, and catapulted something so much deeper in me and my photography career. And so I got home and I started editing right away so I could at least post some photos. And sure enough, I wake up, I go to work the next day, and it's like 10:30 in the morning. I'll never forget. And I got a notification on my Apple Watch that said, Disney on Broadway reposted your photos. And I look on there and I see my photos reposted on the Disney on Broadway Instagram account. I wanted to leave in that moment and just go home and just be like, that's it. This is the start of my career. There's nothing that no one in this park could tell me, in the most humble way possible. I was like, I felt accomplished, the most accomplished I've ever felt, more than photographing any photos in the park, and that unlocked something so just like riveting. That unlocked something so game changing for me, because then I really was like, okay, I started taking my content more serious. I started taking my content more intentional. I wouldn't say more serious because I always was taking it serious, but I started being more intentional, more like, I don't know what else the word is to call besides intentional. Because then I made a reel of me just watching the fireworks. I guess I could say I just started recording more content. And shout out to my friend Farillo. He's absolutely amazing. If you guys don't know who he is a singer, songwriter. He's a dancer, choreographer. He is a cheetah boy at heart. He is a Disney adult at heart. That is my best friend. That is my rider. I absolutely love him. He has encouraged me just to be something great on social media, especially putting myself out there, doing more stuff like this right now, which is recording content and just talking about my story and just being more intentional about the things that I want to do. But he encouraged me and motivated me to start posting content. Like, doesn't matter. He's like, everything you do is content. And when you want to grow on social media, everything is content. Whether it's a 10-second video or it's a 30-second, 1-minute video, everything is content, you know? And once, like, it's not clocking to you, Justin Bieber. Once he like drilled that into my head, I just started recording everything. So then I went to the park and I was like, you know what? I'm watching the fireworks behind the castle, happily ever after, the best fireworks show on the planet. I propped my phone up and just recorded me watching the fireworks. No audio. I just used the audio from the fireworks, like the live audio from the fireworks of me walking around and just being in that moment, singing, dancing, and taking in how I genuinely felt and how I know other people felt in that moment of watching that fireworks show. And I posted it on Instagram and I posted it on TikTok. And it went viral on TikTok. I think it's almost at 70,000 views right now, but like it had went viral and got like 30,000+ views. And Disney Parks had commented on my reel saying, "We get emotional every time." So we went from that Disney Parks commenting on one of my viral TikToks, and first of all, had a TikTok to go viral to begin with. That was my first time. To then my photos getting reposted on Disney on Broadway account. To then I went to go see Disney's Pixar's Hoppers with my best friend from back home for my birthday, over my birthday weekend. And I was like, you know what? Let me make a video like I'm at the movie premiere, okay? You know, Disney does like movie premiere releases very well. The Disney Springs AMC theater makes you feel like you're a part of the release of the movie. They have big banners like up in this, like that go up in the sky, like that you could walk down. They put down a red carpet. They have a big backdrop and everything, like a billboard looking backdrop for you to go walk up and take pictures on and everything. They just do it very well. So you feel like, especially with Disney, because it's Disney Springs, and especially with Disney movies, they just make you feel like you're a part of the premiere and they're inviting you in that special moment, so like everyone feels like they're just a part of something great. So I wanted to record a video of me, you know, going to see Hoppers, recording some of my reaction during the movie. Didn't record the film, you know, but I recorded my reaction during the movie and giving my full review. Like, I went to the premiere, watched the movie, and tell y'all what I thought about it. Well, after I posted it, Pixar was the first to comment and they were the first to comment on the video saying, "We're glad that you loved it," and everything. And that set me off, because at that point, it's like the Thanos gauntlet. I'm like, Disney Parks had liked and commented on one of my viral TikToks. Had a TikTok go viral. Photos got reposted to Disney on Broadway account, personal Instagram account, and the female artist, her name is Ashley. She's absolutely amazing. She followed me back on Instagram, and like we just stay connected and everything from then. And then Pixar likes one of my reels, and they were the first one to comment on that. Like, at that point, I was like, okay, this is how this begins. Like, this is how it starts. This is how it begins. This is the switch. This is the switch over in. This is the shift from me going from just a cast member, trying to be like a content creator creating content in a space that I love, from I'm no longer just a cast member and like I'm a content creator, and like I'm being seen in this space. Hold on. we're gonna shift real quick because I want to grab a Celsius. Hold on. Yes, there we go. Shout out Celsius. We're gonna drink a Retro Vibes today. I think since this flavor has gotten released, I think I literally drink it every single month for like a whole entire year. Like I rotate, but the Retro Vibes is always in the rotation. So let's get a little. Oh my gosh, it's the pull. We're gonna put that right there. We're gonna sit up. We were comfortable, and now we're really into it now. So, hold on. But that was the shift for me. That was the shift that made me feel seen. That was the shift that made me know that what I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, there's not that many moments people have in their life that confirm that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, and those were my moments. And because you could have one moment, and that moment can pass, but when you have the moment, and then it keeps happening, and then it keeps happening, and it keeps happening, and it keeps happening, that is your confirmation that the space you're trying to uphold, you know, popularity in, or sorry, that's probably not the right word, but like the space that you're trying to make a name in, when stuff keeps happening like that in a row, that's confirmation. That is confirmation. This is your space. Keep going, you know? And once that happened for me, I called my friend Courtney. I called up and I was like, Courtney, I was like, every time something happens, like, Courtney, I was like, it's happening. Because like she has the same goal of wanting to be a full-time content creator and getting invited to Disney red carpets and getting invited to movie premieres and getting invited to special events and being in that space, you know, and being a popular, well-known name in that space. So every time I had those great moments, I would call my mom first, because she's my day one like supporter of just me and my delusional dreams. But once again, when you're following dreams and the gifts that God has given you, following that is never gonna look normal. It looks crazy. It looks delusional. You have to have crazy delusional faith to do anything great in this world. So she is always, no matter what, she's always been there to like support regardless of how she feels, because she knows that I'm gonna do it anyway. That's just me. I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna go out and try, and if I fail to everyone else's standards of like what failure looks like, I don't think it's ever a fail, because it's never a fail if you tried. It's only a fail if you don't try, okay? As long as you tried, you're good. It's not a fail. You gotta. It's a learning curve. It didn't work out. Okay, what didn't work about it, so you can go back and try it again. Go back and try it again. Go back and try it again. You know. And then I met my friend Courtney, and she's the same way. She's like, just keep trying, keep going, keep posting the content. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So once I told her that, she was like, dude, she's like, your time is it's here. You're not gonna be working for Disney for much longer, because you're getting attention from too many people in too many spaces where like that decision making shift is gonna happen, and like I don't want to see you be in that position where you have to make a choice based off of that, you know? So I battled with that for a while, and then things started to get so much more just like worse with me just not wanting to go to work. And then I got injured and I couldn't work for a whole entire month with holding a camera just because of repetitive motion. I got hurt at work, and that didn't make things any better. And I was like, you know what? And then financially, I was struggling very, 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 very bad. Was not doing great financially. Wasn't making like the greatest amount of money. Took a pay cut like to go chase after a dream and whatnot. And I don't regret it at all. I didn't think I was going to go through a lot of the financial things that I had went through, but I did, and you know what? And that builds you, and I made a decision that was best for me, and I was like, you know what? I don't really want to be here like that much anymore. I do, but I don't at the same time, and as hard as it was for me to leave, I knew that the better, you know, this has happened to me once before, but the video you guys are watching, you guys are only going to see, I think, up to like 30 minutes maybe of the actual video footage, because my camera times out after 30 minutes. And I completely forgot, because my last video was not 40 minutes long. So, which is fine. I'm still going to post it anyway. I will get better with if my videos are going to be longer than like 25, 30 minutes. I'll just have to get up and, re-record. But just want to let you guys know when it's going to time out, I'm going to come on the screen like this to continue on the video, just so I can let you guys know. Thank you guys for watching and tuning into this week's episode of my new series on YouTube, which is I Moved Back Home to Chase After My Dream Life. And you can listen to the full audio on Spotify, and this will be up on YouTube later on this week. And once again, shout out to Orchid and Olive for providing this amazing space for this episode. I will drop their link below, like I said, for you guys to look them up on Peerspace and Facebook to use for all your event space purposes, for bridal showers, birthday parties, small business little meetups, anything that you could possibly think of, podcast recording, photography. They do some really beautiful photo shoots for some awesome photographers. Use this space and everything as well. So thank you for watching, and go listen to the full episode on Spotify because you won't see the full video. And that's all I got. Bye.